Hello and welcome to the Try Talking Sport podcast hosted by me, Joanne Murphy. Whether you are an athlete, adventurer, endurance enthusiast, or simply have an interest in sport, you have come to the right place for inspiration, encouragement, motivation, and as always, plenty of entertainment. I hope you're all well and looking forward to the coming days as we build up to Christmas. The festive season is definitely silly season, and I feel like it hasn't just crept up on us this year, but it has literally steamrolled past us, and it's hard to believe we are now just a week out from Christmas Eve. I finished up my announcing for the year last week, rounding out a busy year with the Gymnastics Ireland National Awards on Saturday evening in Dublin, which are always so much fun, ahead of hosting a press launch for Swim Ireland on Tuesday, where they launched their swimming pool gap analysis report, a substantial body of important work undertaken by the national governing body, which highlighted lots of gaps and inadequacies in swimming pool availability, infrastructure, accessibility and sustainability across the country. I was delighted to finally meet and chat with our Olympic gold medalist and double world champion, Daniel Whiffen, at the event too. Hopefully we'll get him on the podcast in the coming weeks and months for a chat. It has been a whirlwind year for sure on the work front, and I'm nervously excited to see how 2026 will pan out. It's already shaping up to be another year filled full of announcing adventures at home and abroad, with some new races in some new places and lots of opportunities lying ahead. But before the new year kicks off, I'm actually looking forward to being at home for a few weeks. There's lots of paperwork and admin to be caught up on once the festive fun is over. But before that, there's lots of people to catch up with and plenty of downtime required and lots of Christmas movies to be enjoyed. Speaking of festive fun though, our Fit for Christmas challenge is well underway. In fact, we're over halfway through it now, and over 400 people have signed up to the challenge this year, which is super. We have been enjoying, and I say the word enjoying loosely, lots of burpees, planks, some circuits, plenty of cardio and some relaxation in the form of yoga and meditation, all with a festive theme. From twinkle toes to mistletoe mobility, elf on the shelf to the dancer dash. It's all been lots of fun, and I've actually surprised myself with my level of motivation this year. I've pretty much done something every day. Some days I've done 2 sessions, which I haven't done since I was in full flight of Ironman 70.3 Mallorca training last year. There's been lots of running, which I'm actually enjoying, and I've even managed to enjoy some running on the treadmill. Either I've become used to it or I've just toughened up, but it's not as dreadful as I remember it. I do have my eyes on the fields of Athenry 10k on December 26th and the Resolution Run 5k on New Year's Day in Galway. So I guess that has kept me motivated the past few weeks to keep racking up the miles regardless of the weather. It's about time I got back in the pool though, and on the bike. Maybe that can be next week's goal. One of the highlights of the month so far was the opportunity to try out some gymnastics thanks to coaches Aoife and Gavin at RGC Renmore Gymnastics Club in Galway. It's been on my to-do list for a long time. The last time I did gymnastics was in primary school for a couple of weeks and at a kids camp many years ago. I've been working with the Gymnastics Ireland team for a decade, so really it was about time I gave it a go. It was so much fun. Now, I couldn't do a forward roll when I walked in the door, but by the time I left, I was doing them like a queen and bouncing around on the trampoline like a pro, or at least that's how it felt. I loved it, and I definitely think I'd be up for giving adult gymnastics a go in the new year. I was terrified doing the forward roll at the start. I was so far out of my comfort and control zone. But by the time I was leaving the gym, I was like a child waiting for Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. So excited and so delighted with myself. If I'd been given a medal, I probably would still have been wearing it 3 days later. Of course, nobody warned me about the DOMs the next day. I had pains in places I didn't even know I had muscles. I can tell you, wearing high heels to the Gymnastics Ireland Awards the following night was a struggle, but it was totally worth it. If you want to check me out doing my forward roll, take a look at my Instagram page at Try Talking Sport and get a sense of just what it was like to enjoy an afternoon of gymnastics with the crew from Renmore. Now, speaking of Christmas, if you are looking for a gift for yourself or for someone else this festive season, be sure to check out the range of fabulous body care products from our friends at Nuasan on www.nuasan.com and use the code TTS15 to get a 15% discount on their range of products. And I also have the last few Try Talking Sport bobble hats available for purchase on the Try Talking Sport website. I'm a bit biased, but I can tell you that they are a perfect stocking filler and great to wear before, during or after a winter training session outside. So treat yourself this Christmas, but order soon so it arrives in time for the big day. Oh, and don't forget to tell your friends about the podcast this Christmas. That's the perfect gift to get them motivated, moving and inspired as we head into the new year. And so, speaking of the new year, this is the final episode before Christmas. So a huge thank you to all of our listeners and supporters who've been part of the Try Talking Sport community in 2025. I hope we've helped to brighten up your day and motivate you to follow your own passion for sport and adventure throughout the year. I know Christmas can be a challenging time for many, so no matter how your own festive season looks like, I hope you do take the time to be kind to yourself and reflect on all that you have achieved over the past year. You need to acknowledge and celebrate every win, big or small. A win is a win after all, and each victory is a step forward, and you deserve to feel proud of how far you've come and what you have done this year. I want to take this opportunity to wish you and your loved ones a very healthy and happy Christmas. Now, let's meet this month's guest. Norway's Solveig Løvseth made an immediate impact on long-distance racing in 2025, setting the fastest time ever recorded for a female professional on debut at IRONMAN Hamburg, where she finished third in an impressive 8 hours, 12 minutes and 28 seconds. She then went on to take her first Ironman win in only her second appearance at the distance, breaking the tape and the course record at IRONMAN Lake Placid. With her sights firmly set on the sport's most iconic race, Solveig arrived in Kona in October and raced with remarkable grace and composure amidst the heat, humidity and the pressure she endured. From the early miles to the final stretch down Aliʻi Drive, she delivered a masterclass in execution, breaking the tape on triathlon's biggest stage to be crowned the 2025 IRONMAN World Champion. In this episode, Solveig takes us through her extraordinary season as we unpack what it truly takes to get to and perform at the highest level of the sport. Beyond the results, this conversation explores the person behind the athlete. The 2024 Olympian opens up about her early years in sport and the transition from swimming to triathlon. The lessons learned from short course racing and the patience required to move successfully into middle and long distance events. She also reflects on the loss of her father and how that experience reshaped her perspective on sport, resilience and life, bringing deeper meaning to every opportunity she has to race. Solveig Løvseth's story shows us that the path to greatness is rarely straightforward, defined not by obstacles but by determination, resilience and self-belief. Her journey is thoughtful, humble and refreshingly honest, centred on patience, perspective, passion and the importance of carving your own path to success. Now, go grab a cuppa and enjoy the show. Solveig Løvseth, IRONMAN World Champion 2025. Welcome to the Try Talking Sport podcast. How are you?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, it's really good to be here. I'm doing well. I have had 4 weeks really easy, chill season break, and started to get back into training last week. But it's also good to be back into training.
So, where are you at the moment? Are you at home in Norway, or are you still traveling?
Yeah, I'm home in Trondheim, where I live in Norway. So that's the plan, is to stay here basically for the next few months. So I think that will be quite nice as well.
What is the plan for Christmas? You mentioned you're back training after Marbella, but what's the plan for the next few weeks? We're like 2 weeks from Christmas into the new year. Are you back into heavy training, or are you just tipping along, getting ready for 2026?
Yeah, I started a bit easy last week. The plan was to start the week before, to have like 3 weeks off. But then last week I got sick, so then I had like another week of season break. But that was for me, I thought that was like really good timing of getting sick when I already was quite unfit, and I didn't really mind that much. It wasn't like a terrible sickness, just like bad that you felt like, oh, I probably shouldn't be training so much this week. And I started a bit gradually last week. I learned from the past that every time I start too fast after sickness, I always end up getting sick again. So try to ease a bit into it. And I guess for next week, I will just gradually build a bit more both volume and intensity, but also try to prioritize some Christmas celebration in there.
And speaking of celebration, did you get to celebrate much after the Ironman World Championship and then the Ironman 70.3 World Championship? There was only a few weeks between those two World Championship races. So when did the Kona celebrations happen, or have they happened yet?
Yeah, it was a really weird period in between with those 4 weeks. I feel like it depends how you like define celebrate. I didn't really go partying or anything after Kona, but I think my main way of celebrating it was just like being a lot with my closest friends and family, and just try to let it soak in a bit. And I allowed myself to have like some easy days after the race, and you sort of have to have some easy days since it's an Ironman and your body really needs it. But it was a quite intense period, so much happening around, and I was also just high on adrenaline, I guess. So I almost didn't sleep at all that first week. It felt like I had like so many nights with like 3 hours of sleep in a row, and obviously the travel home was there as well. And but I felt quite good because, as I said, I guess it was just adrenaline. And then when I get home, I got really tired, and it was also hard, like a bit hard mentally, I think, for me to get into the mindset of wanting to perform again. Like get it back into training was okay, and I guess when you have been doing sport for a long time, you're also used to sometimes having to do sessions when you're not 100% up for it. So I still got out and did most of the sessions. I had one session where I just quit halfway because I was just so tired and I just really didn't feel like doing it. But most of the training was like okay, and I was feeling not terrible. So I felt like the recovery from Kona could have been worse. But still, when I arrived in Marbella, it was hard for me to like really feel that that hunger to perform again. I think my mind was still just enjoying that Kona experience. So yeah, it was new situation for me to be in, to try to get ready for a race when I still was just trying to enjoy the last one.
Riding the wave of success from Kona. And we did,
Yeah.
a few years ago when Gustav won in Kona, he then actually DNF'd in Utah. Was that 2022 that happened? And
yeah, that was 2022.
Yeah, so
and it was 3 weeks in between those races, so that was like an even quicker turnaround. So I do really understand that it was hard to reset, and it was definitely the same for me. And it's interesting to see that because that same year in 2022, Christian was third in Kona, and then he was really hungry to perform again. So he ended up winning that 70.3 Worlds, while Gustav, as I said, he DNF'd on the run because his body was still tired, I guess, after Kona. And not only Kona, but just all the impressions that comes with it.
And I imagine all of the interviews and all the press and all the things away from training and racing that take up space in your mind make it difficult to kind of find that hunger to prepare to race against the best in the world once again 4 weeks later.
Yeah, definitely. But that being said, I really enjoyed being in Marbella, and it wasn't like I was there and just thinking about that I want to go home or anything. I was really enjoying the atmosphere around the race, and in one way it was also nice because I truly didn't feel any like nerves or pressure or anything, because I wasn't in that sort of performing mindset. So I was more about, for me it was more about trying to do my best in the race, but mainly just enjoy being there. Also out in course, I felt like I was actually really doing that and really enjoying it, and it was so many spectators there, and I didn't feel like I performed on my best, but I still had a decent race, so it was a nice way to end the season for sure.
Well, I think 6th place against some of the best women in the world, the Ironman 70.3 World Championship, and taking 2nd overall in the Ironman Pro Series wasn't a bad way to round out an exceptional year. And so before we chat maybe a bit more about Kona, tell me about your celebrations in Marbella first. I heard that you were partying with a few of our sports superstars, including Kat Matthews and Daniela Reef. I heard you might have been partying with Danny too at some point.
Yeah, that was really fun. It was I did the mistake of telling Kat and Mark on breakfast one day before the race that I never actually have been like drunk before. I come from the Norwegian team. We don't really party that much, or at least I've never really been partying, or at least not drinking when I have been at parties, and I've honestly never missed it. So it has never been something that I've been I haven't felt myself that I have been missing out on anything. But when I told them that I hadn't ever been drunk, I knew that this is gonna put some thoughts into their heads. So they were just like, that's really interesting. And after the race, we went out for some drinks. It started out with just Kat and Mark and a lot of Kat's family, which was really nice, and also me and my mom and my boyfriend. So we had some drinks, and the plan was actually I was going to go to dinner with some other people, but instead we ended up all going together. And as you said, Daniela came, and we ended up just being a really big group. And I had a lot of drinks for being me, at least. I'm not sure how many I had, but enough for the room to really start spinning. And I felt like I struggled talking after a while, and it was just I realized that I still stand by what I've always thought, that I didn't really feel like I've been missing out on much, because honestly I thought it was a bit annoying to be drunk. Like I like that I can normally feel like I can trust my mind and trust my body and be able to walk in a straight line. So it was a really, really fun night. I really enjoyed it. But I also like to be able to control my body and mind 100%. So it was a bit annoying when I was trying to talk and I just felt like, I can't really pronounce the words the way I want anymore. So,
and of course,
but it was a cool experience.
There's always the next day where you're more tired and your body is
definitely.
Yeah,
the next day was the men's race, and my head just hurt. And I was just thinking, not necessarily worth it for me to go partying that often, but maybe it can be like once in a year thing for me after the last race.
Well, you definitely need to get your precision hydration electrolytes into you after the on the Saturday night. Anyway, we move on from the partying in Marbella. I'm glad you got to have some fun and celebrate your success. Before we talk about your career in the sport, bring us back to young Solveig Løvseth. As a kid growing up, were you sporty? What were you into? Did you enjoy school or sport more?
I actually enjoyed both really much. I've always, when I was young, I always liked competing. So liked to just challenge the boys in my class to have this sort of be the first person to run to that fence over there or stuff like that. I really was into that, competing a lot, when in the breaks during the school day, stuff like that. And also actually really enjoyed school the whole way through. I always enjoyed especially like math and science and those sort of subjects, and always thought that was really fun in school. So that's actually maybe the one thing I feel like I'm almost sacrificing a bit right now, because I would really like to have an education, and also sometimes later in my life have a real job. I've always pictured myself having like this, sitting in an office, and feel like I'm probably a quite boring person. Like that life is just like a family and going to work and come back home, and that's something I always thought that would be nice. But I really enjoy the life I have now, of course, and definitely want to prioritize that for some other years. So right now I'm not studying anything, and I'm trying to only focus on sports, and I'm I'm really, really enjoying that. So I guess it's a time for everything.
Absolutely. But I imagine that your interest in maths and science helps you as an athlete as well when you're looking at your numbers and looking at what you're doing in terms of your nutrition and your power and all of that. So I imagine that that helps in terms of your training. So you probably are learning on the job through your interest in maths and science as well.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I feel like the math I'm doing in my life now is very, very simple math. It's more like, as you said, grams per hour of carbs or watts and stuff like that. And it's like not, it's quite easy to calculate. Like if you have this gel with 30 grams and this gel with 90 grams, that's 120 grams. So it's more like the math you did in primary school, I guess. But it's
I'm
something.
There's plenty of people who struggle with getting their right for their nutrition and on their power on their bikes. So don't knock the simple maths. But then how did you get actually into sport then? You were a swimmer before you were a triathlete. So how did that come about?
Yes, I started with swimming just to learn to swim. So when I started school, I just started swimming as well. So it was I don't have any swimmers or anything in my family, so the goal was just to learn to swim. But I guess I just never quit. So I just want to continue because I really enjoyed it. So I started in the swim club, and it got more and more serious there. And like for the first years, it was really, really fun. But then I think maybe when I started to get a bit older, like 13, 14, it was swimming is a sport that usually get quite serious quite when you're quite young. So already then it was, swimming every day and sometimes 2 times a day. And I, up until that point, felt like I was sort of at the same level as the other people the same age as me. But suddenly I felt like everyone else was just improving so much, and I was just standing still. And it was quite hard, I think, for me to like not be as good as the others, especially when swimming is like it's really easy to tell if you're good or bad. It's really all about times, and the pool is the same length for everyone, right? So it's really easy to know that you're not as good as the others. I think my swim coach also observed this, and he saw that I was always showing up the training and took it seriously and was really sort of eager to get better, but still struggled with actually getting better, like struggled to get the right technique in and the feeling of the water, basically. So he actually took me aside one day and suggested that I would maybe be better off trying something else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was he knew me really well, and we still have a really good relation today. And I think he was someone I really trusted, and I knew that he had good intentions by telling me. It was still really hard to hear. I think I was 14 or 15, and he said like that he didn't really think I would ever sort of reach the highest level in swimming. And actually, we had a running test, like a 3K running test with the swimming club, which was something we had never done before. But at that test, compared to the other swimmers, I was actually like way better to run than the other swimmers, which was also really surprising to me because I was used to being the slowest of everyone. And actually, at that run test, I beat everyone in the club. So, and I had never been running, so he was just thinking, you should try triathlon. So he was actually the one that pitched that idea for me back in 2014, I think.
So did you go straight away into triathlon then, or how did the triathlon journey start?
Yeah, it was a bit of a process for me, I think, because for me to start triathlon would mean that I had officially given up the swimming, and I didn't feel quite ready for that. And also triathlon, it's still a really small sport, but it was even smaller back then in Norway. So I knew one person who did triathlon, but except for that, I didn't really know anyone who did that, and it felt sort of weird to do triathlon for me. I don't know. I was 15 and insecure, so I was just thinking, oh, it's like embarrassing to do triathlon. But I had, as I said, that one person I knew that did triathlon, that was someone I had been swimming with before, so he convinced me to go to this training camp for young athletes, just like a weekend with other young triathletes. And then I saw that, oh, it's actually, I'm not the only one who's doing this. And it felt like a bit less weird right away when I saw that it was actually other people that I thought was quite cool who did it. And then since it was still a so small sport in Norway, they didn't really have a system of how or any clear criteria for what you needed to do to get into the national team and stuff like that. So I basically got to go on camp with the national team right away, and I think that also really helped me to sort of enjoy the sport more. And like my first training camp was a couple months later, and it was like 2 weeks with the national team, and like all the like Christian, Gustav, Kasper, everyone was there at that camp, and I had never even ridden a road bike before. So the first time I rode a road bike was on that camp, and it was just like a bike I borrowed from the federation. So felt like I was really like thrown into the sport, and I had just been doing it ever since.
The rest is history.
Yeah,
what an incredible journey you've
10 years later.
It's 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years later now.
Wow. You raced short course racing. We're at the Olympics. Draft legal racing. You have 2 gold European Games medals in the individual triathlon and also the mixed team relay. Did you enjoy the short course racing? Why the jump into middle distance racing in 23 and then up to long course this year?
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed short course, I'd say, at least for most of it. But I think it was, I always found it challenging, especially with the swim. And that was always like a big stress factor for me. But at the same time, then, since I felt like I often didn't really reach my goal or my potential in races, when I first had good races, it felt very rewarding for me. So I think, for instance, that European Games you talked about was like such a big highlight for me to actually be able to win a race. And I think, just in general, in short course, I felt like it was a bit more hit or miss than in long course, because I felt like if I had a good swim, the potential to do quite well was definitely there. But if I was too far back, then it was not very fun the rest of the race, because I felt like the race was already over, or at least a chance of getting a really good result. But you still need to mentally really try to convince yourself that it's worth to fight for every position, and that you can still get a decent result. But very often I felt like I was not even a part of the race, which was always hard. So it was a bit mixed. When I had good races, it was so fun, and when I felt like, oh, I'm actually a part of this race, it was just fantastic. But it was definitely a bit more up and down.
So then in like the middle to long distance racing, the swim is important, but because the races are so long by comparison to short course racing, you've more opportunity, because you're such a strong biker and runner, to bridge that gap and to be part of the race.
You definitely have more time to sort of recover, but also it definitely helps that it's no drafting for me. It's I feel like in long course it's more up to you, and you have more control over your own destiny in a way. So that's something that for me feels really comfortable. It just feels easier because it's better suited to like my strengths as a triathlete. But it was definitely a hard choice for me to decide to do long course this year. I was a bit the same, I guess, as when I went from swimming to triathlon, that I felt like if I do long course now, I'm sort of giving up the short course career, and I didn't really feel like I reached my potential there. So I felt like, is it too early to like give it up? And that being said, I can still go back to short course. So I haven't like 100% decided what I'll do for the next years, but it's always hard to feel like you're giving up on something. But at the other side, if you give it up to do something that you're might be even better at. It can of course be a good thing. You don't have to always make it hard for yourself either.
So do you think would LA be on the cards for you and to go to the Olympics again, or is that something you're not thinking about at the moment?
I think it's not completely, I haven't completely decided, but I know that the upcoming season will be long course focused, and I know that by focusing on long course for the next year, I already make it quite hard for me to be able to qualify, but it's not impossible. So if I during this next year really feel the motivation for doing short course, I know it's still possible. I guess I'm lucky that I'm from a federation where we don't have a lot of girls, or for the most part, I wish we had more girls. So don't get me wrong there, but in terms of qualifying for the Olympics, it's definitely easier if you don't have to compete internally against 10 other really good girls, as is the case for the Germans or the Brits or the Americans, for instance.
So then let's talk about Kona a little bit. I'm going to start at the finish line and ask you, what was it like coming down the finish line and hearing the words, Solveig Løvseth, you are an Ironman World Champion?
Yeah, it was a really surreal race, and obviously I got into the lead quite late in the race, so I didn't have really much time to think about that I was in a position to win the race. It all felt quite surreal, and when I was running down the finish line, I really tried to be aware that I wanted to enjoy it and try to take it all in, but it's also really hard to do when you're a bit just perplexed by the whole situation, really. But I think I actually even stopped before the finish line just to feel like, wow, this is happening before I grabbed that tape, and it was just a really crazy feeling.
I listened back to the call bringing you down the finish line, and I was getting goosebumps. And actually, it's funny how you mentioned you stopping just before you got to the tape, because I did notice that you actually took a pause before you took the tape. And I wondered whether that was on purpose or whether it was kind of just like, whoa, like, wow. You know,
I was like, I need a second here. This is too much, and then I was ready to take it. So it's funny, but I got some critique from Christian about how I took the tape, because
really?
I just like grabbed it with my hands and sort of it got a bit like crunched together in my hands. But he said it's really important when you take the tape over your head that you can actually see what's it's written on the tape, so you can see that it's like saying World Championship or whatever. So he told me that it's clear that I haven't really grabbed many tapes, because then I would know that. So
he was giving you advice and a backhanded compliment, I think, was he?
Yeah.
Is that the only advice he gave you?
After the race, that was the only advice, yes. But over the years, I definitely gotten a lot of advice from both him and the rest of the team. So, and also just think I've learned a lot just by observing the other guys on the team and girls on the team. So
let's go back and talk about the actual race day itself. So expectations going into the race, you had set the fastest professional Ironman debut for a female athlete in Hamburg, which was absolutely amazing. Came third behind Laura and Kat, and then went on to win Lake Placid, setting a new course record out there. You'd also won Ironman 70.3 Venice Jesolo, and you'd come third at Ironman 70.3 Zellamzee. So like you'd had an incredible season so far. Lots of people were talking about you. You were one of the race favorites going in, but also the talk was of, oh, here comes another rookie. Will you be able to match what Casper did in Nice? So talk to me about how all that fared out for you, like the pressure of already having had a phenomenal season, but then also coming to Kona as a Norwegian rookie and people piling the pressure on of like, oh, can you do what Casper has done, or can you win a world championship like Gustav and Christian? Give us a little bit of insight as to how that all worked out for you pre-race.
Yeah, pre-race I felt really good. I felt really relaxed and I didn't really feel much pressure, which I think myself is really interesting because I had a very different build up to Kona than I had to the Olympics the year before. For going into the Olympics, I definitely felt the pressure and I was really stressed and I wasn't really able to enjoy the training or like enjoy the fact that I was going to the Olympics because I was just so stressed about it. I didn't feel like I was the place that I wanted to be in the training either. But going to Kona this year, I just actually really enjoyed it. I had a really good training block and I just had fun with it. And also when I was in Kona, I just didn't feel the pressure. And what's interesting for me about it was that if I looked at it from the outside, the pressure was definitely, it was more expectations to me in Kona than it was in the Olympics because like leading into the Olympics, I had never even been top 10 in a WTCS race. So nobody expected me to like podium or anything in the Olympics. That would be like the biggest overperformance ever because I just hadn't like shown that level, but I still really felt the pressure to perform there. While for Kona, I just didn't feel it, even though I got asked a lot about it. Like people did, as I said, like tell me that all the other Norwegian has won on their debut. Are you gonna win? And I got a lot of those kind of questions, but it didn't really affect me. I feel like I just still didn't feel the pressure. But I still actually like could still joke about that I would win the race, and I that's also something I guess I'm not doing if I'm not feeling like I'm in a good place. So you were mentioning my other race results, and I after the Salam Sea race, I wasn't very happy with my own performance there, but I got third, which was still a good position. But I think I actually said to Kat that well, in my races so far this year, I had first and then third and then first and then third. And so this is like the pattern I'm going for this season. And the next race is Kona, I said. Like, so the joke there was, oh, so I have to win in Kona now. But I didn't really believe I would do it, but I was still like, yeah, joking a lot around with it. Also, when I was in the apartment where I was staying in Kona, I was just saying a lot of stuff like, oh, I'm just going to win on Saturday, no big deal, and stuff like that. And I think for me, yeah, as I said, I'm not even joking about it if I'm not at least feeling confident that I can do fairly well. But I definitely did not think I would win. I think for me it was 4 big favorites in that race. It was Taylor, Lucy, Kat, and Laura. And I was thinking like everything can happen in Kona, and of course with the hot conditions, and some people can sort of maybe have a race that is not as they hope for. So maybe on a really good day, I can maybe get on the podium if I can like be able to have a really good day myself and maybe beat some of those 4. And of course, you never know who others will perform. So it's always a lot of other people that could also win. But I was thinking dream scenario would be third. That was like my goal to. Then I would just be over the moon. So that I was actually able to win it was not something I had seen coming.
And then, of course, not only did you win it, but actually you switched the podium around from that Hamburg race as well. So this time it was Solveig in first position with Kat and Laura in second and third versus it being first Laura, second Kat, third Solveig.
Yeah, it's really fun that it was actually the same podium that it was in Hamburg. So that was really cool.
Tell us about the race itself. You were about 6 minutes down on the lead coming out of the water. How did the day unfold then for you? And what was it like seeing Lucy drop out and then Taylor on the ground and making that pass to head towards the finish line?
Yeah, it was really weird all day. I felt like after the swim, I was definitely thinking I was in a position to win because I knew who was in front of me, and I knew that 6 minutes is a lot to try to catch up when I have had people like Taylor and Lucy in front. And I was also coming out of the water together with Kat and Laura. And for me, I was thinking then that I hope I'm able to ride with them. But I will most likely not be able to outrun any of them. I also felt like at least Kat, Laura, Taylor, and Lucy will be in front of me. So I was thinking like fifth. I would be really happy with fifth. But yeah, the day just continued to surprise me. I was really surprised when I got away on the bike, because that wasn't intentional either. I just pushed quite good in a downhill and got a gap there, and then I was just on my own the rest of the day, and it was on the bike. I didn't get any splits at all on the way out, and on the way back I got a split from Philip, Laura's husband, but he gave me a split to the front to Lucy, and that was like 6 minutes still, I think, and so I was thinking like, okay, that's really good. I'm riding basically the same pace as the front, but I didn't get any splits to the people behind me. So when I actually got into T2 and I heard 8 minutes or something, I was really, really surprised by that, because I had not pictured that like the gap would grow that much. So then I was thinking for the first time during that race that, oh, maybe a podium is possible today. But also I knew that I would still need to have a decent run, because just remembering from Hamburg that I think Laura actually ran 8 minutes faster than me in Hamburg, and I had an 8-minute gap on Kat and Laura at that point. So I was really focused on getting that third place, because that was my dream scenario. So I was thinking either I need to try to catch Taylor or Lucy, or I need to make sure that this 8 minutes gap is a big enough gap. So that was sort of my two scenarios to how to get third, because I was really set on that third place at that point, like podium. I want to try to get on the podium. And then, as we know, Lucy stopped, and that was a really big shock to me. I did not see that coming at all. And then it's hard to like reset a bit, and because I saw her standing there with Reese, and it's of course not something you want to see with people, you know. I feel like you do want, it's a weird thing, because you of course want to get a good result for yourself, but you, or at least I do really want the other people also to do well, if that makes sense, because I just know how much they put into it, and how much it means for them as well. So you definitely don't want to see people having those days. But then again, need to refocus on my race, and then I was in second, and I was so happy with being in second. So for me, I think I got a bit like defensive in my mentality, like thinking I just need to protect this second place now, make sure I'm not blowing up or anything. But then I had people out on course starting to shout that you can actually win this, like Taylor's slowing a bit, and I was almost a bit annoyed by that, because I was thinking like, but I'm happy with being in second. Stop like trying to push me to like try to get in first. That can be like risky. Maybe I blow up if I try to go harder. So I was almost like, oh, stop nagging about that. But that's also something I need to work on, like to get more that I don't know, killer instinct, I guess. So but it really helped having people out there that said what I sort of needed to hear, and I just then need to start to reset my mind from thinking that second is really good to start to think that it is worth trying to do everything you can to get that win, because you're gonna definitely regret it if you play too safe, because you're like afraid of trying to win, I guess. So then I tried to push a bit more. I'm not sure if it was actually going faster at all. Maybe it was still going slower, but I felt like I was trying to push more. And I did actually gain on Taylor quite fast, which was also a bit surprising. And so then I knew that she was slowing, because as I said, I don't think I was actually going that much faster at all. But I still gained quite fast, and I started to like try to calculate in my head if it would be possible to catch her, and I didn't really think it was possible, because it was quite few Ks left at that point. But at the same time, you still need to try to convince yourself that it's not over before it's over, and you never know how they're feeling. And I knew that she was already slowing, and sometimes that means that you're gonna just continue to slow. So that was what I was trying to tell myself. But when I suddenly saw her on the side of the road, that was also very surprising. and it felt like a bit like the universe sort of like playing some tricks or something, because I was starting out in third, and suddenly I was in the lead, and I hadn't passed anyone who wasn't already standing still. So it felt like really weird, because both Taylor and Lucy is so experienced and so calculated in what they do, and they really know what they're doing. So yes, it was very, very weird, and just a lot of emotions at once, like concern for Taylor, because nobody was like actually going. She was sitting there alone still. It was people around, which made me think that she would get help, but it was still really weird to see her like that. And obviously, again, not the way you want to pass anyone. But I also had people out on course for me, which was I really needed, I think, at that point, who told me to be like, yeah, you're in the lead now, focus on your race. And I think it was Brad that is working in precision hydration who told me that, like, you're in the lead now. And when he said that, that was when I realized, like, oh, you're right, I'm actually in the lead, because I had only been like looking at Taylor. And when he said that, I was thinking like, oh shit, that's that's crazy. Yes, from that on, it was all about trying to keep that lead and not do anything too stupid. I felt that the gap was quite comfortable, because I did get a lot of splits, like the gap to Kat, who was in second at that point. I felt like it was quite comfortable, so I wasn't actually that stressed to be cashed. But when I looked at the line stream from the last case after the race, and then I was thinking like, oh, I should have been more stressed, because she was really running. Like, her run time in that race was crazy. But I think so that I had like good control, and I was thinking like, there's no way she's running faster than like 350, 345 per K now. But then I looked at it afterwards, and she ran like 330 or something. So I was maybe a bit too chilled at that point of the race. But still worked out in the end. And just a crazy day.
Yeah, it was the third closest finish time ever. About 35 seconds. So she was absolutely trying to pace you down. But I'd love to know, Solveig, how you kept your composure, because you see Lucy with Reese, then you see Taylor on the ground, both amazing athletes, inspirations to athletes all over the world. Yet here you are, you're now 2K. After seeing Taylor, you're less than 2K, I think, from the finish line. How do you keep your composure to be like, okay, this is mine to lose. I can't slow down. I can't run any faster. At least I think I'm running faster, but I can't blow up because it's now mine to lose. How do you keep the focus and make it to the finish line, knowing that two of the world's best athletes have fallen foul of the heat, and then you know that Kat and Laura are absolutely chasing you down to try and take that top spot on the podium from you?
Yeah, I think again it helped me that I had good people that I trusted out on the course. And at that point, it was especially Brad who was a big help. I also had my boyfriend there, but he had actually at that point gone to the finish line to be at the finish line. So he wasn't there when like Taylor stopped and everything around that. But I think Brad was really good to tell me what, give me clear instructions that is not too complicated. I feel like also I'm quite good myself to stay rational during a race, but of course when you're getting almost 8.5 hours in, the brain start to get a little bit foggy. So then it's also good to have people who can actually help you to make the right decisions. And he's told me right after I had seen Taylor stop, he told me I think he said I had a 2-minute gap or something to Kat at that point, and he told me to not stress too much about it and try to maybe actually slow down a little bit, just keep myself sort of composed. And I also actually think I did slow down a little bit after passing Taylor, because I was just so afraid to blow up when I had seen both Lucy and Taylor do that, which was people I think they obviously didn't think they would blow up like that. And so you never know what's going to happen. So I was actually really scared of something like that in those last Ks. So I tried to just try to keep it as controlled as possible. And it really helped, of course, that I was mainly downhill on that last part of the race. And as I said, I actually thought my gap was quite good when I knew that like 2Ks and 2 minutes or almost. So I felt like I could allow myself to run a little bit slower. But yeah, as I also said, the gap was going down really fast. So I'm happy it wasn't much longer. I talked to Taylor after the race, and I said something like, if the race had been 40K, like you would have won, and maybe if it had been, I don't know, 43 or something, then Kat would have won. So for me, it was really nice that it was 42Ks that day. It was perfect.
When did you actually start celebrating and think, okay, I have done this? You know, at what point in that final 2 kilometers did you think, I've got this now? This is mine. 5th is gone, 3rd is gone. Number 1 is going to be Solveig Løvseth.
I think it wasn't before I ran into that last part where it's all the flags and all the people standing. I think I had a look back then, and I didn't see Kat when I looked back, and then I knew it was, I don't know, 100 meters left or something. So then I felt like, okay, now I should be able to get this if I'm not stumbling or face planting or something. Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like you can never be too sure too soon. When I passed Taylor, I felt like I should win this, but at the same time, you're also just so afraid to do something to like fuck it up for yourself. So it was. It's all about, I think, to try to not think about it too early. But when it's 100 meters left, you're pretty safe at least.
And do you think, is there a decision that you made during the course of the race that helped to change your own positioning to be where you were at that time when Lucy and Taylor DNF'd? That like there's a decision earlier in the race, like did you stick to your own bike plan that allowed you to have enough in the legs for the run to continue, to not blow up? Was there one decision that you made during the day that kind of affected your overall result in the end?
I think I was just like quite good at listening to my own body the whole day, or like I did go by feel for most of it. I still look at the power and look at the pace, but I'm not like, it's still a feeling that I have that it controls how hard I actually go. And that's definitely much easier to do when you're by yourself. So while I was a bit like disappointed in one way when I ended up riding alone, because I think it's more fun to ride in a group, and you feel also that you're a bit more exposed by yourself, and of course you need to do all the work yourself. And I was actually really looking forward to riding that group with Kat and Laura. So I think in one way, and Lisa and a lot of others, but I think it was in one way a really good thing that it took a while before I realized that I was by myself, because then the gap to the others were already that big that it would just feel stupid to sort of wait for them again, because I knew that, okay, I have gotten this gap without doing it on purpose, then I'm probably feeling quite good today, so then I should just go for it. So maybe that was like just a lucky thing that I got that gap, and from then on sort of felt like now I'm sort of forced to just do my own thing the rest of the day. And luckily I'm also quite used to riding myself. I feel like somehow I often end up by myself in races, either because my swim hasn't been that good or something like that. So it's also a position I'm quite comfortable with. And also when I started the run, it was big gaps both to second and to fourth. So I didn't feel pressure in any direction that much. And I knew that when you're by yourself, the most rational thing you can do is just try to have an even pace the whole way, not try to open too hard or anything like that. So I think that was maybe the difference from my race to Taylor and Lucy, that they were much more together, and then you feel more pressure and you do pressure each other. And I think if I had been together with them, I would probably also have been running or riding a bit harder, because it's harder to listen to your own body when you have somebody you're chasing.
So you got to kind of race your own race as opposed to racing somebody else's race, which is also very important.
Yeah, and also I think in this race it was I didn't have a goal of winning it, so it's I guess also then easier to hold back a bit more because I was happy with the position I was in. So for me, it was more about not losing the position I was in more than trying to get into better position. And in this specific race, that turned out to work out really well. But I mean, often it's better to be a bit more aggressive, I think. And Taylor almost won, and then the story would have been completely different, right? It was 2Ks left, so I'm not saying it's better to be like a bit more defensive. So I think I need to try to also work on getting a bit more like a racer, not be just playing it safe. Like Mikael, my coach, is also saying that that I'm also sometimes just playing it a bit too safe in races. So it's a balance there, but in this race and in the conditions in Kona this year, that did work out really well. Patience is also important in such a long and hot race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was so warm and it was so humid. You know, everybody was struggling in it. We weren't even racing and we were struggling in the heat.
It was hard.
Yeah, it was hard. Talk to me about your mindset then, Solveig. Do you do training for your mindset? You mentioned earlier about having the killer instinct, and when you got to Marbella that you weren't as hungry for the racing, even though you did a great race, that maybe the hunger wasn't there because you literally were coming down from being crowned the world champion. So what do you do to train your mind? What techniques or tools do you use to support finding that extra gear or that composure or the ability to push through the pain barrier when really you might want to quit?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I haven't really done that much to train my mindset. I think also probably something I should do because as I said, and I mentioned it earlier as well, that I feel like I'm maybe not as competitive as some of the other athletes. I guess I'm also comparing myself a lot to the boys in the Norwegian team and stuff like that, and I feel like they're more like clear on their goals and wanting to win. So maybe I can work on that. But I think actually this year what's been nice is that I'm obviously coming from short course, and I think for me that was mentally harder because it felt more like a struggle. I felt more pressure. I felt more that the first minutes of the race is make it or break it for the whole race, and that was also quite hard. And I had a lot of race where I just was really disappointed and felt like I didn't get out my potential. And I think just having a lot of races where I just didn't feel like I was doing well was much harder mentally. But this year it's been going well, and I think just for me, the Ironman distance feels more chill. Like I feel like you have more time to recover from mistakes, and it makes me just feel more calm during the races. And if something goes wrong, I don't stress that much about it. So mentally, that really helps, and mentally, it also helps that you don't have to push everything you have the whole way. But it's still a balance, and yeah, I could probably get better mentally.
Away from triathlon and your schedule and your work as a triathlete, what do you do to unwind? Like, do you have hobbies away from triathlon? Do you just like to sit and read a book? Are you watching anything on Netflix, or Solveig chill out on a day in Norway?
Like, I wish I could say that I was knitting or something. That's something I want to learn, but yeah, I don't know, just something other than answering that I'm watching Netflix, because that's usually what I do, just watching something on TV or reading books. I'm also think that is really nice. I feel like I've had some years where I haven't been reading much, but now I'm like getting a bit back into it. So that's also really relaxing, I think. So I guess it's mainly that, like watching TV or reading or just hanging out with friends. So
that's all part of it, though, isn't it? It's like just to turn the mind off and allow the mind to rest and watch something.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah, it is good.
I'm really enjoying it. Like, if I just be on the couch and eat some candy and watch a good TV series, then it's 10 out of 10. I feel like I'm probably a quite lazy person outside of training. I like to just be able to do nothing.
I think that's called being a professional athlete. You are training for work every single day, that when you get to just chill out, that's part of your job as well.
Yeah, for sure. But I know some athletes that find that relaxing part a bit like hard to actually be able to do that. But for me, that's the easiest part.
Well, I definitely wouldn't say that you were lazy, that's for sure. You might have to take up baking like Laura Phillips. She loves to make cakes and baking. You might have to find something like that. Maybe
yeah. But again, that feel like
it's hard work.
More work, if that makes sense. Like I just want to be horizontal. So I feel like baking is probably relaxing, but it's even more relaxing to be at the couch. So it's a too physical thing.
Yeah. So then looking at the people who've influenced you over your lifetime. So I know you've spent a lot of time with the boys, Gustav, Christian, Casper. You've grown up and trained with them for many, many years. But in terms of influencing you and influencing your life and your decisions, is there anybody who's been a big influence on you and on your success over the years?
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I think, as I said, the whole Norwegian team has been maybe the biggest inspiration training wise. I feel lucky that I've been a part of that team since I started the sport, and also we always had great coaches, and yeah, just a lot of good athletes. It's probably the best way to learn, to just observe what others do and be like a part of a good culture. But aside from that, I definitely feel like my parents has always been good role models for me. And maybe actually, especially like the last years, I've been thinking a lot about my dad. He passed away 3 years ago now, and just I think his work ethic and moral has always been better than mine. That's why I'm saying I'm a bit lazy, because he was always working really long days and always just doing the right thing, I felt like. And also he's just always been really inspiring to me in the way he handles things, and never complains about anything really. Also, when he was sick, he had cancer, was sick for 4 months, and he had like a really it was like blood cancer, and the treatment there was really tough. So he had just really, really hard chemo, and he just you could see that he was really weak and it was really hard on his body, but he was just never complaining about it, and always tried to make us feel good when we were visiting. And also he was always the one comforting us, even though he was the one who was sick. And just how he handled all of that was very inspiring to me. And when he got the message that he wouldn't survive it, it was also all about being there for us. And he was just sort of being like telling us, "Oh, sorry that I'm I'm making your day bad by telling you this." And it was just like almost silly in a way that he could tell us that he was sorry. But he was such a good role model, I think. And I think right after he passed away, I just really didn't find the joy in training for some months. But then when I got back into training camps, the team, that really helped me. And again, has really showed me how important it is to have that team around you with people that you trust and that can sort of lift you up. And it actually really gave me the motivation back. And now when some years has passed, I think just having to go through that with my dad, and seeing him not getting the chance to live longer, actually now makes me really appreciate that I still can, and makes me really appreciate life even more, actually. And try to take inspiration from everything he did and everything he can't do now.
I'm sorry to hear about your dad. I didn't actually know that he had passed away. I'm sure he would be so proud of you and all that you've achieved. And I'm sure he was a very, very proud dad. I lost my dad probably around the same age as you, so 21 years ago. So you never really get over it. And he was young as well. I think, you know, the resilience that we have to find every day to keep going when you lose a parent young, and they guide us along the way as well. I think I don't think I'd be where I am today without a lot of spiritual support from my dad, wherever he is. But yeah, it does make you want to be better and want to make them proud and live a life that they would have loved to have seen you have had they. So
it's a really nice thought. I didn't know that either about your dad, so I'm sorry to hear that. And it's, as you said, you don't really get over it, but it still gets easier to live, and you can also learn a lot from it. But it definitely, actually, that's been the hardest part for me after Kona, that to not have him there to actually celebrate with me, because I know how much he supported my career and how proud he was already. But I feel like he never really saw me having the results that I had dreamed of having. So he was there more for sort of the grind and the process. He never really sort of saw the outcome of it, what it would lead to in the future. So it's, I guess it's when you're having sort of your most special moments is when you feel the most that you wish that they would still have been here. So that's been like bittersweet in a way, but I know that he will be proud, and that's a nice thing to think about as well.
It is really tough, and you should be so proud of what you were able to do, being able to put your best foot forward and to be able to go out and to train and to go and achieve things. They're in your heart and they're in your head, but actually to be able to channel all of that, the grief and the sadness and maybe the anger, it is really difficult. You should be extremely proud of what you've done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely been a process, I think, for me as well. And I feel like this year, it's the first year since he passed away that I feel like I've been more able to do that and more feeling a bit more just like myself again in a way as well, as you said, like with anger and sadness. And I feel like maybe the last 2 years especially has been a bit more up and down in my moods, and it's been a bit like harder to just go on. But this year I feel like I'm a bit just more back to the way I want to be and the way I've been before. Yeah.
That's good to hear, Solveig. And look at the season that you have put out this year. It was absolutely phenomenal. So as we look to the future now, IRONMAN World Champion in 2025, what does the future hold? Is defending your title in Kona something that you will be looking to do next year?
Yes, I think that would be my ultimate goal for next year would be to do that. It's funny, I've never feel like I've had like a goal of winning a race like that before, but after Kona now, I'm actually really thinking about it, that would be just so cool to actually be able to achieve. But I think, of course, it's a really big ask, and I feel like for that to be possible, I definitely need to raise my own level. So not sure if it's gonna work out, but I think it's really cool to have that goal, and I do want to do everything I can to achieve that again.
You've spoken so candidly about your swimming coach said to you, I think you should find a different sport. You've spoken about how when you were racing short course racing, that if you weren't in the mix in the swim, that kind of the race was, it was kind of over for you. You are an inspiration to athletes all over the world, male and female. They're going to be talking about Solveig Løvseth for many years to come and that phenomenal season she had in 2025 and beyond. So when you think of younger athletes coming through now and you think of some of the setbacks or maybe the pushbacks that you've had to endure, what advice would you give to other athletes or to young people in particular who maybe receive some of those pushbacks and are like, I just want to give up, whereas really you should be maybe finding a new path? What would you say to them?
I think the most important thing would always be to do something you enjoy doing, and I think that's why I have kept going for all these years, because I have really enjoyed it. And I think if I had just continued being a swimmer, I would probably have quit many years ago, to be honest, because I don't think it was really the right sport for me. And I'm then really happy that I got the chance to try a triathlon and had people that advised me to do that. And I think, especially when you're young, it's easy to be a bit too caught up in trying to do everything professionally and that you need to do this and this in this specific way. While the most important thing when you're a younger athlete is that you just keep training and keep enjoying the sport. And I think especially like it's definitely a problem here in Norway and probably a lot of places that a lot of athletes just quit really young and way before they have reached their potential. And I think that's partly because it gets too serious too soon. And if they then have like a period where they don't really improve much, it's really easy to feel like it's not worth it. So if you're able to enjoy it and not take it too seriously, but just continue doing the sport because you like the training and hopefully have a good like social, like a good group of people you enjoy being with as well. I think that's the most important thing. And the longer you go, most likely you will eventually improve, and the sport will always get more serious the older you get. So no need to like rush that, I think.
So having fun, and I also think having some courage as well is important, because if you hadn't taken that first step to go on that training camp with the Norwegian triathlon team and that federation back when you were, 14, 15 years of age, life could have been very, very different. So then when we look back at all your success to date, Olympian, IRONMAN World Champion, racing professionally as a triathlete, of everything that you've achieved in your life, either in sport or outside of it, what are you most proud of?
Oh, that's also a good question. I think I've never been asked that before, what I'm most proud of. It's easy to just say Kona, I guess, because it was definitely like my sporting highlight. But I guess what I'm most proud of is also just the process to get there, which I guess for most athletes, it's never like smooth sailing. It's a lot of things to overcome on the way. And I think just that I've never given up and always wanted to continue. And as you also said, that you need to be able to also adjust and not be too afraid of trying new things. And so I guess it is Kona that I'm most proud of, because that is the biggest achievement I've had. But I think I've actually never thought that I would achieve something like that. Like, I've never been really confident that I'm going to be a world champion one day. So I think I never really, as I said, I never thought that I would actually manage to do that. So that I have done it now, it's something that I am really proud of. And no matter how my career goes in the future, I will always have that win. And I think for me, that's something very special and something I am very proud of.
Well, it certainly is something to be very proud of. Solveig Løvseth, the IRONMAN World Champion for 2025. Thank you so much for being part of our Try Talking Sport podcast. It's been a pleasure to get to know you across the year, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and that 2026 exceeds all of your expectations once again.
Thank you so much. It's been really nice to talk to you. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can get in touch with any feedback or guest suggestions by emailing me on trytalkingsport@gmail.com. If you would like to hear more great episodes of the podcast, be sure to check them out on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow all of our activities and podcasts on Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram. If you've any feedback or guest suggestions, please email me on trytalkingsport@gmail.com. I would really love to hear from you. Until next time, have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, keep smiling, and remember to look for fun and adventure in every day.